Hi guys, it's Carissa, and today I am 40 weeks and 1 day. Yes, today is the day after my due date. It is December 28th. I probably don't need to mention, I still don't really have a voice. I'm still coughing a lot. But I still feel okay. I don't really feel like I'm getting sick at all, so that's good. So last I mentioned, we had been sent to labor and delivery triage. That was Monday of last week because I had high blood pressure and my urine came back with some protein in it. I'm pretty sure I caught you guys up with all this, but basically I saw my doctor as a follow-up in the office, and she said that I wasn't dilated at all and there was no sense in inducing labor because all of my tests were coming back pretty normal, and my blood pressure wasn't high enough to be concerning. My protein in my urine wasn't high enough to be concerning, and if I were to be induced, it would very likely fail, and it would be irresponsible to induce me when I'm not physically ready and not dilated at all, because it would take my body so long to actually get to that point that I'd likely have to have a C-section anyway. So I'd spend 3 or 4 days at the hospital waiting to actually go into labor, and it would be very likely that it wouldn't actually take. So I respected that decision, and Mike was very bummed out. He was really excited. But all along, you know, you guys know we've been kind of on the edge of our seats, being told at any point we could have to be induced and to plan for it. So it was just kind of another step. And honestly, knowing that my body is doing so well, I can't be upset with that. I'm really happy that we've made it this far. So we went about our lives, and unfortunately I did choose to avoid going to Christmas Eve to see my family. I know they were really disappointed, but from the sound of it, it was probably the right decision because there were a handful of people who were there who were sick. Mike stopped by and dropped off our presents for them, and you know, sort of our contribution to the party. We had to bring like napkins and cutlery. And then right from there, we went to the hospital. I had been told, you know, a couple of the times that I had been at labor and delivery triage to watch out for some signs of preeclampsia. And 2 of the major physical symptoms are headaches and changes in your vision. I was also told to pay attention to belly pain and reduced fetal movement. One of the midwives who was there at a certain point really stressed that I should be doing kick counts, and that's looking for 10 kicks within 2 hours. And she said if you get less than that, you need to call us. Now, my doctor had never brought that up, but I have read about it. I've heard about it plenty of times, and I've used it here and there where I've had days where I've told you guys I've had limited fetal movement. And just because blood pressure is such an issue, and because that is such a sign that something could be distressing the baby, I really take it seriously. So I think that there are probably people who wouldn't pay as close attention, or especially, I don't know, during the holiday season, or if you're nesting, you get busy and you don't notice as much what you do and don't feel and when. But I've been really trying to not stress about it, but stay aware. But unfortunately, all day Christmas Eve, I had pretty much no movement. None completely, but it would just be the slightest little flutter of something and it would go away. And that's not typical. I've gotten to a place where I kind of can know and expect certain types of movements or movements certain times of day, and I just wasn't getting anything out of her. I decided to try a few things. I'm guessing it was around 4 o'clock when I finally decided I was going to do my kick count, and I couldn't even get her to move or respond to anything for over 45 minutes. And then after the 2 hours was up, she had only kicked 4 times, and I'm talking 4 individual kicks. There was no actual, you know, consistent movement, and it was all based on reaction to something I was doing. So I went and sat in her rocking chair, which she hates, and I sat in that and I rocked a little, and she moved 4 measly times in 2 hours. So I called the on-call doctor, and she did confirm that she thought it was a really good idea for me to go to the hospital for a non-stress test. because in her opinion, a woman with hypertension should be induced at 39 weeks if you have those risk factors for preeclampsia. And I told her that I wasn't dilated at all, so she understood. But it did sound an awful lot like she was sort of planning to keep me in the hospital and induce me. Mike and I just went. We didn't bring our packed bags. We didn't feed the dogs dinner first. We just went because it had been so many hours and I was getting really nervous. So we went to the hospital and of course everything was fine. I don't mean to sound disappointed when I say that, but it's just funny how drastically things change once we walk into the hospital. Of course, my blood pressure is completely fine. And then she kicks harder and more frequently than she has all week. One real great plus side though was that she finally was kicking so violently that Mike was able to feel her kicks through my belly, and I think that really made him happy. The non-stress test looked great. The doctor that was at the hospital at the time did say a lot of things differently than they have in the past few times I'd been there. She was really implying that she was going to keep me and start induction. But once she talked to my doctor on the phone, the doctor who was on call that I spoke to, and then the doctor who would be on call for the next 24 hours, they agreed that it wasn't worth doing just yet. And having me sit in the hospital all day on Christmas Day and not really have anything progress. So they had me come back in 24 hours. They had me collect 24-hour urine again. And then Christmas Day evening around 8 o'clock, Mike and I went back to the hospital. My blood pressure looked great. There was no protein in my urine. The 24-hour collection came back normal, but less than what it did before. So it was 240 before and it was 180 the next day. And the non-stress test looked great. So the doctor said, since you were just checked a couple days ago and you weren't dilated yet, there's no sense in us keeping you and inducing you. And I had a follow-up appointment with that on-call doctor in office yesterday. So that was the 27th, which is my due date. So we went to the appointment and she confirmed that my blood pressure still looked good. There was no protein in my urine yesterday. And that the 24-hour collection from a few days prior was clear. You know, it did show protein, but it was less than the last 24-hour collection, which had been a few days before. And she said, you know, honestly, I was getting ready to keep you and induce you on Christmas Day, but it just didn't make sense to do it at that point. But as of yesterday, I was at 40 weeks. So she checked my cervix again and I was dilated 1 centimeter, which in a week's time, I guess is good. I was really hoping it was more. I tried to do a few things to encourage that and get it moving along. I think all of it is just coincidence. And maybe there are some things that work for some women, but honestly, if your body's not ready, it's just not ready. So she checked me, she said I was 1 centimeter dilated, and then she said that we'd be setting up an appointment for cervical ripening tomorrow, which is the 29th. So tomorrow afternoon, I am going to call and set up an appointment with the hospital for tomorrow evening. I guess they typically do it after 6 p.m. and go in and they will give me a dose of medication. She either said orally or through IV, I don't remember, but not vaginally. There's one that's every 12 hours vaginally, and then there's one that is done either through IV or orally, and I can't remember which one she said, but that's every 4 hours. That's what I'll be doing. And I should expect to deliver anywhere between Friday and Sunday at the latest. So we might miss 2016 by this much. And I don't know if you can tell, but Mike purchased for Christmas, he purchased me this beautiful mother and baby birthstone necklace because I have an April baby. So that's the diamonds, and then the blue topaz in the center is for a December baby. And this doesn't come in garnet, I guess, so he offered to exchange it for something else, but I don't care, I love it. And he asked me if I would pass it down to her someday, and I would gladly do that. So I thought that was really sweet. But she might not be a December baby. We might squeak just past into the new year, and that's okay. I had my final appointment-based non-stress test today, and it went beautifully, just like usual. Her heart rate was way, way up here by my rib cage again. Lower though, in a more, I guess, understandable position than where it was the time before when they found it like way, way up on that side. And then I had my growth scan, which they couldn't do really because of the position she was in. She was all crunched up, so her belly wasn't really able to be viewed, which is where you get the bulk of the weight from. So she said 7.3 today, which I'm sure is not accurate because she was 6.9 2 weeks ago. So I'm guessing she's over 8 pounds, which is a little scary, but that's okay. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I can't wait to meet her, and it's so crazy to think that she'll be here in a few days. I can't process it. But we're very excited. So don't worry, I will let everybody know when she's here. This goes for my family, for everybody. The first place I see myself updating is Instagram. So if you don't know my Instagram, I'll have it linked below. And you can turn on notifications there if you want to. I don't know if I'll actually post anything during the process of labor or any of that. I just want to see how I feel and how things go. But I will actually post, you know, when she's here there. So if you are wanting to know, that is the best place to know, and nowhere else. That is where you'll find out. I do also want to just share the sweet little gift I opened this morning. This is from my friend Hannah, who I met on LiveJournal 16, 17 years ago. And that is crazy to me. That is so crazy. I've never met her in person, but I really hope to someday. She's one of my oldest internet friends. And she sent this beautiful card with a gift card to Target and this unicorn lovey. Oh, how sweet is that? Oh, I absolutely adore it. So thank you so much for that, Hannah. Give your puppies a kiss for me. So that is it. I also I've been slacking on my Snapchat, but I might use Snapchat. I don't know. I have that linked below also, but those are the two. I think a lot of people assume that I'll post on Facebook before. Facebook is mostly for family, but they're not gonna get the information there. That would be more like phone tree style through my family. So if you wanna see what's going on, Instagram and Snapchat. That is where hopefully all of that will be. And that's it for now. Thank you for your well wishes, and just thank you. Thank you for being here. I can't believe we're almost there. We're almost there, you guys. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye.